Alright, so we are doing tangent lines day 2. You guys want to say hi to 5th period now?
Hi, 5th period!
Wow! Oh! Okay. Throwing slugs. Who said it? Logan? Wow, Logan is firing y'all up. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of quick questions with like the tricky type questions. So first one that we're going to do is okay, find because it's white instead of, that's why I usually use the yellow.
Is that why you use the yellow?
It is.
Wow.
You figured it out. So that f of x equals x cubed plus k is tangent to y equals 3/4 x for x greater than 0. Okay, so first thing, if we want our equations to be tangent to each other, what has to be the same? Yes? The derivative. Okay, so if the derivatives are the same, their slopes are the same, right? Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set the derivatives equal. Oh wait, equal to each other. Okay, so look at my first equation. F of x, what is the derivative of that?
3x squared.
Okay, 3x squared. Now notice that's for my curve. Okay, then for my line I have 3/4x. What's the derivative of that? 3/4. Very good, because remember that would count as x to the 1. So you times the 1 down, the 3/4 stays the same, then take away 1, then it's x to the 0. Okay, then from there I need to find where their slopes are the same. So from here, divide by 3 on both sides or multiply by 1/3. However you would rather think about it. The 1/3 and the 3 cross out, we have x squared equals. What is 3/4 times 1/3? What happens to the 3's? They cross out and you get 1/4. Very good. Okay, from here we need to solve for x, so x is going to equal what? 2 answers. Plus or minus 1/2, 1/2. Very good. So real quick, let's think about a picture of this graph just for a second to kind of understand what we're doing. What does x cubed plus k look like for our f of x? What shape?
Cubic function.
Okay, so it's cubic, and then the plus k means that we don't know where it's going to hit the axis, right? So let's just put k here-ish. Okay, so that would be our f of x. And then our equation of our straight line is 3/4 x, so that would be 3/4x plus 0. So let's just say it's like this. Okay, so this is our line. So what we did was we set their slopes equal to each other. So does it make sense that I got 2 points where they have the same slope? The answer should be yes because of this. Okay, if you look at the slope of this line, do you notice that that same steepness happens about here and about here?
Oh.
Yeah? So what would the x of this first point be? -1/2. And the x on that point would be +1/2. So there are 2 places that I have the same slope. Now, the second thing I need is for this cubic function to be translated in such a way that these end up on top of each other. So not only do I need to have the same slope, I need to have the same y value. So instead of just setting the derivatives equal, I need to also set the original functions equal. Okay, which is kind of like we did when we were finding values. So now we're going to set originals equal. But what else do we know that we just learned? What other 2 things are the same? Or which x value are we going to use? The +1/2. Why positive? Because x greater than 0. So I'm going to let x cubed plus k.
Are we plugging in the 1/2 for it though?
We are going to plug in 1/2 in just a second, yes. And then I'm letting that equal 3/4 x. So now I'm setting the originals equal to each other. Okay, from here, now we know, just as he said, that x is a half. So I'm going to plug in, this is now a half cubed plus k. This is 3/4 times a half. What am I going to get on the left side? Remember, cube the top and the bottom. 1 cubed is 1. 2 cubed is 8 plus k. Other side, remember fractions, multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. What do I get?
3/8.
3/8. Then I want k by itself. How do I get rid of the plus 1/8? Minus 1/8. Very good.
And so if those were different, we would just
You'd have to,
denominators and then
yes, you'd have to get a common denominator, but in this case it's kind of worked out for you. So now I have 3/8 minus 1/8 is 2/8. That can reduce to 1/4. Very good. So what that means is that if I make my plus k a fourth, then this second graph here, instead of being up here, it would perfectly come to be tangent right here, which is what we want.
So all those lines would be, I got you.
Yeah. Okay? Alright, let's do another one. Find the value of b. I'm going to need to turn my paper over. Or should I say Sean's paper, since I'm borrowing it. Find the value of b to make f of x equals 2x squared plus bx tangent to y equals 3x minus 8. Okay, so remember, there are always going to be two things that you're setting equal. If you want it to be tangent, you need the slopes to be the same, and you need the y values to be the same. Both of those things have to happen for it to be tangent. So let's do our derivative side first. What's the derivative of f of x?
4x.
Okay, good. 4x plus b equals. Other side, what's the derivative of this one? 3. Okay, and then from there, we don't get a direct answer for b, but let's go across to our other side. So these are our derivatives equal. What else are we going to set equal? The originals. Very good. So on this side, I'm going to let 2x squared plus bx equal 3x minus 8. Okay, now, it doesn't look pretty, but, okay, you have a system of equations. You have one set of things that are equal, another set of things that are equal. Which one could we more easily solve for on the derivative side? B. What would our substitution be for B?
Negative 4x.
Okay, negative 4x plus 3. You could also make it 3 minus 4x. It doesn't matter. Then I'm going to take that, and I'm going to sub it in right here for my B. So it'd be 2x squared plus negative 4x plus 3x equals 3x minus 8. Okay? Now notice that this x here is going to need to be distributed into both of those. So I'll have 2x squared plus, then what is x times negative 4x? Negative 4x squared. Then 3 times x is 3x. Okay, from there we want to combine any like terms. What can we combine? Yeah, 2x squared minus 4x squared. How many is that? Negative 2x squared. What would I do next? Okay, why can I cross them out? That is true. Because I'm going to minus, yeah, when you minus 3x on both sides, these guys are going to cross out with each other. And then I just have negative 2x squared equals negative 8. Okay, we're getting there. What do I do next? Yep, divide by negative 2. I get x squared equals 4. And remember, when you square root both sides, you introduce the plus and the minus. So x is going to be plus or minus 2. Okay, from there, let's do the same thing as last time. Let's just pick the positive one. So we're going to pick positive 2. Okay, then we'd come over here. Then b needs to equal negative 4 times 2 plus 3. So once you choose your x value, you'd go back to that sub-equation, and you'd plug in your value. So this is now negative 8 plus 3, which is
Wait, why do you
negative
do
5.
that?
Why do you do what?
Why do you plug it into the sub-equation instead of the original?
Okay, you could technically plug it into either one, but this one's a lot easier to plug into. Okay, yeah, it's way shorter. So when it says find the value of b up here at the top, we found x first, and then you can plug into either one, but this is going to be way simpler.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so b would be negative 5. So set derivatives equal, set y values equal. Okay? All right, one more like that. Okay, find value of k to make f of x equals k over x tangent to y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 3. Okay, so first thing, what do we do? Set the derivatives equal. Now notice on this f of x, I'm going to have to do a rewrite because it's written as a fraction. So if I take this x and I pull it up, how would I rewrite that? Good. So that's the same as kx to the minus 1. And then from there, I'll take the derivative using my power rule. So f prime, we're taking this derivative first. Multiply the negative 1 down. Now it's negative k. What's the new power on x? If you minus one more. Negative 2. Because remember, it was already negative. Thanks. It was already negative, and then I'm minusing 1 more. Okay, then on the other side, we want the derivative negative 3/4 x plus 3. What's the derivative there going to be? Negative 3 over 4. Very good. Okay, then from here, I would go back and say, okay, well then negative k is really just over x squared, right? Because if that x has a negative power on it, I can go ahead and drop it to the bottom. Okay, then from there, which letter is going to be easier for me to solve for, k or x? Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these negatives by multiplying by negative 1 on both sides. Then I'm going to take my x squared off the bottom and multiply it over here to this side. So k is 3/4 x squared. So we essentially just multiplied by x squared on both sides. Okay, then we're going to take that, and we know that we're going to use it as a substitute when we set the originals equal. So our derivatives are equal, now we're setting our originals equal. So this is my f of x, k over x. This is my line, 3/4 x plus 3. And then when I get to my k side, I'm going to plug that in instead. Now, remember, this is the same as k times 1 over x. So when I substitute, I'm going to write it like that so that I can see them. Since k is a fraction, that way I'll have both of them as a fraction. So it'll be k times, which is 3/4 x squared, 1 over x, negative 3/4 x plus 3. What is going to happen with my x squared on top and my x on bottom? Okay, one of them will cancel, so instead of having x squared, I'll just have x, right? So 3/4 x equals negative 3/4 x plus 3. Am I allowed to cross the 3/4 x's out since they're opposites? No, because they're on opposite sides as well. So when I want to cancel out this negative 3/4, I'm going to need to bring it over as a positive 3/4. It'll be 6/4. Very good. 6/4 x equals 3. Because I would have plus 3/4 on both sides. Then from there, how do you get rid of a fraction? Multiply by its reciprocal. So I would multiply by 4 over 6. 4 over 6. Multiply across the top. 3 times 4 is 12. Divide by 6. X equals 2. Then once I know x, I can go back to that sub-equation or all the way to the top if you want to. Plug in x is 2. What is 2 squared right here? What is 3/4 of 4? 3. Make sense? So k would be
How'd you get the 2 though?
the 2 here.
Yeah.
What's 3 times 4? Divide by 6. 2. Yeah. So you multiply the tops together and then divide. Okay? All right, next thing I need you to do, we have a couple more examples, but I need you to have a calculator. Okay. So if you don't have your own calculator,